Effective April 1st, all foods currently at 5% VAT will be VAT-free. Zero VAT on those food items.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Office of the Prime Minister. Let me apologize for our late start due to circumstances beyond our control this morning. This morning, we will be talking pricing, we will be talking consumers and benefits for them, courtesy of the government, which has been working from the very beginning to lower the cost of living for Bahamians. That's, of course, one of the top priorities of the Davis administration. This morning, we will hear from Senator Barry Griffin, who, as you know, heads the Trade Commission, which has been mandated to find ways to lower the cost of popular consumer products. We are also joined this morning by Rex Adderley, who heads the Department of Consumer Affairs, and we are joined by the Novio Group, headed by Quanya Smith, who is Vice President of Operations, and Valdez Williams, who is Managing Partner within the Novio Group. And they have developed an app called PricePal, which they will explain the benefits of that app and how consumers can benefit from it and how it works to increase competition to the benefit of consumers. So right now I will welcome to the podium Barry Griffin, head of the Trade Commission.
Good morning. Why are we so somber in here today? Good morning. So thank you all for being here this morning. It's a pleasure and honor for me to be here with you, the members of the press. And so a pleasant good morning to press colleagues and members of the wider Bahamian public who are tuning in today. So a lot of you have already heard about PricePal. And so today, we are not just here to give a more public launch to the beta testing of PricePal, but we are here to introduce more widely to the Bahamian public a new public service that is being offered by the government of the Bahamas, one that is designed to put the power back into the hands of the consumer. So for years, Bahamians have expressed a very real concern: the rising cost of living and the difficulty of knowing where to shop, what is a fair price, and whether they are getting value for their money. And so, PricePal is the government's answer to that very real concern. So the key message that I want the media and the wider public to get from today's press conference is that PricePal is about consumer protection, it is about market transparency, and it is about competition policy. So, just to give a little bit of a background, we are all aware that the Bahamas is a very import-dependent economy. We import about 90% of everything in this country is imported from another jurisdiction. And about 80% of that 90% is imported from a single jurisdiction. And so we are very susceptible to shocks, economic shocks that happen around the world, policy changes from other governments, anything dealing with shipping and logistics. We feel the burden very quickly because we're so dependent on imports. And while the government is creating and fostering strategies to decrease that dependency on imports, we have to deal with the economy and the world that we have now. And so one of the things the Bahamas Trade Commission has been mandated to do is to assist in ways to decrease the cost of living for Bahamians and to make it a little bit easier at the till. And so in the Bahamas, we all know that prices can vary widely from store to store. Whether you're shopping in Western New Providence or in a heritage community in New Providence, or whether you're on a family island, a single product can vary greatly. And we found that consumers lack information. That is one of the biggest things that consumers say. They lack information. They don't know prices across the wide array of the Bahamas. And so this information imbalance hurts households. In any market, the party with the information holds the advantage. And so historically, businesses have had that pricing information, but consumers have not. And so PricePal corrects that imbalance. This initiative is about transparency, and transparency leads to more competition, and competition leads to better prices. And so PricePal allows Bahamians to compare grocery and household items across stores across the nation. They will be able to find the best value before shopping. So PricePal is an app that you download on your phone, and whether you're at home or in the car or at work, you can go into the app and look for prices of various products that you have on your shopping list. In fact, there's a mechanism in PricePal that you can create an entire shopping list and find which store is perhaps giving you the best bang for your buck across the totality of your shopping list, or you can search for individual products. So the idea is that before you go shopping, you can be informed about where prices are in the country. And so it will allow Bahamians to plan their budgets more efficiently. And the app also allows consumers to raise consumer issues with the government. And so right now, if you have concerns about your shopping experience at a local retailer, for example, you will likely have to call a government agency or email a government agency and sort of wait for a long response. There is also a mechanism within the app where you can report issues inside the app. So you can be literally in the store dealing with an issue, and you can report that consumer issue through the app. And so this is our answer based on technology. We're also advancing consumer protection in the Bahamas. And so ideally, we want Bahamians to be able to make better and more informed purchasing decisions. So for the first time, a Bahamian family can check prices before they leave home of multiple stores across multiple locations throughout the country. So instead of guessing, you will know. Now, how does this relate to the cost of living? PricePal does not set prices, let's be clear. What it does, though, is just as powerful. It shines a light on prices. And so all of us have had experiences where we've had to guess the price of items or say, well, this store had it at this price last time, so it's probably going to be the same price. And we all have dealt with instances of price transparency in other countries. You can easily go on Amazon and compare prices of the exact same product. There are also things like Yelp that help you to compare prices and service experiences. And so this is our way of bringing that to the local market here in the Bahamas. Because when prices are visible, markets behave differently. When entrepreneurs, store owners, and consumers all alike know that prices are readily visible and available to the whole Bahamian market, we believe that markets will begin to change. And so the impact of this is that it will encourage competitive pricing because all Bahamians across the nation will be able to compare prices more readily. It will discourage excessive markups. It will empower low-income households to stretch their budgets. And it would also help seniors and young families to help their buck go a little bit further. So essentially, this will also help family islands. We're very aware that the price of goods across the family islands tend to be a little bit higher than in New Providence. And so in particular, for family island consumers, we hope this spurs competition. So the idea is that a single mother, a pensioner, or a young couple trying to manage groceries now has the same market knowledge as a business buyer. And a little bit on how this all came together. So the Bahamas Trade Commission conceptually developed this concept. It came out of a working group discussing competition policy. So again, one of the things that the government is focusing on is spurring more competition in the marketplace. So the Bahamas Trade Commission developed the idea of PricePal and the app, and it's supported by the Office of the Prime Minister, who has assisted with policy research, communications, and policy support. But we had to go out and develop the app. And so we put a tender out, and the winning bid came from a Bahamian group called the Novio Group, who specializes in software development. So this app was developed by a Bahamian company for the government of the Bahamas. We've also involved the Consumer Protection Commission as complaints have been integrated into the app. And we've also involved the Consumer Affairs Department that will be the home of PricePal, because PricePal is essentially a consumer app. And so the Consumer Affairs Department will be the home of PricePal and will be responsible for the operations and management of the PricePal app. And so this is what a modern government looks like. policy, technology, and service delivery all working together across multiple government agencies. Now, a little bit about the timeline. About 2 weeks ago, we had a media sneak peek of PricePal, where we began the beta testing phase of PricePal. So we invited thousands of Bahamians to join the app to begin testing. I'm happy to announce that the stress test of the app has been successful. And so now we're launching into a larger beta testing phase where we would like members of the general public to sign up to be one of our beta testers to test the app. So just to be clear, the app is working. The app is in the Google Play Store. It's in the Apple App Store. And we would like Bahamians to continue to help us to test, develop, and refine this app. And so part of today's press conference is to encourage members of the public to join in on PricePal, use it. We want you to become a frequent user, and we want you to give us your feedback. We want you to tell us what works, what doesn't work, what we can improve on, because we are headed for a full national launch within the next few weeks. And so we want PricePal to be as perfect as possible before launch. And so today, I'm inviting Bahamians across the archipelago to help us to build this platform that we think will be transformational to the Bahamian public. We want students, we want seniors, we want women, we want men, we want everyone to be a part of this beta testing. So visit pricepal.gov.bs and sign up to participate in our beta testing. Your feedback will help shape the final version of PricePal before our national launch. And so, as we move through this press conference today, I would like to invite Novio Group, who are the developers of the app, to give you a more technical run-through of the app. I want you here, the press here today, but also the wider Bahamian public to be able to see how the app functions. So Novio Group will now take you through the app, how it functions, how a Bahamian consumer would use the app, and they would also be available for technical questions. But before we give the opportunity for questions, we then would like to invite Mr. Rex Adderley, who is the head of the Consumer Affairs Department, to speak on behalf of the Consumer Affairs Department, being the operational home of PricePal. And then the three of us will be open and available for any questions that you may have. So thank you for your time, and we hope that everyone who is in this room today will also indulge us and sign up for PricePal today. So thank you very much. Valdez?
Thank you, Chairman Griffin. Good morning, everyone. My name is Valdez Williams, Managing Partner and Chief Information Officer at Novio Group. I've had the honor of serving as Chief Architecture of the PricePal ecosystem. I want to tell you a story. I think everyone in the room is going to recognize it. A mother walks into a grocery store. She's got a list. She's got a budget, and she's trying to make it all work. She picks up a bag of rice. She looks at the price, and she thinks, wow, this is more than I budgeted for. It's cheaper at a store down the road. But she doesn't have time to drive to another store. She doesn't have a way to check. She puts it in the cart. She pays what they're asking for, and she goes home. She does it again next week. The story plays out through the country every single day in Nassau, in Freeport, in Abaco. Families making decisions with no information, paying what's in front of them because there's no other alternative. What we've built is designed to end that cycle. The PricePal ecosystem is a complete digital platform. At its heart, an app called PricePal. It's free. It works on iPhone, Android, and the web. It does something that has never been done. It has done something that's never been available to the Bahamian consumer before. It lets you see prices, real prices, over 1,500 everyday essential items across more than 100 stores on 5 family items, updated in real time. And you don't have to be at the store to use it. You can be sitting at the kitchen table on a Sunday night planning your week ahead. You can be at your desk on a lunch break. You can pull up PricePal and search for an item, and instantly you see what every store has near you is charging. You can scan a barcode right from a product you already have at your home. You can see what's the best price and leave and leave your house. You can build shopping lists, and the system will calculate the cheapest store to buy everything on it. Not item by item, your entire list optimized for your location. You can set price alerts on things your family buys every week, so when prices drop on rice or cooking oil or laundry detergent, you know about it. The app tells you. That's the kind of power that that used to only exist with big businesses. Now every Bahamian household has it. And if something that doesn't look right, if the price on the shelf doesn't match what the system says, you can report it directly from your phone. That report goes straight into a system, it's logged and tracked and acted on. Now the question should be asking is, I hope you will, is how information is accurate. And here's what I want you to understand and what makes it different from any other initiative that happened throughout the Caribbean. The system does not depend on a single source of truth. It pulls pricing data from multiple layers. Retailers managing their own pricing through a dedicated portal. Consumer affairs officers collect data as a part of their regular fieldwork. And consumers themselves, hundreds, then thousands of everyday shoppers can flag discrepancies in real time with photo evidence. The more people use the system, the more accurate it becomes. It's designed to scale with participation, not with head count. That's what creates trust in data. But I want to talk to you about something bigger than the app itself, because what the system also does is take the Consumer Affairs Department into a new era. The process used to run on paper, complaints filed by hand, tracked in folders, resolutions taking weeks. That's over. In this system, a consumer complaint is captured at the moment it's submitted. Leadership has real-time dashboards showing the state of the entire marketplace, not last month's report, but the current data happening now. That's not technology. That's not a technology upgrade. That's a fundamental change in how government can protect its people. So what you have in front of you today is the PricePal ecosystem, the consumer app, the digital tools for officers in the field, Consumer Affairs Command Center for oversight, and a retailer's portal that gives businesses a way to participate and compete fairly. All of it is connected, all of it is live, all of it is built right here in the Bahamas by a Bahamian team in under 3 months. Now I've talked enough. Let me hand it over to my partner, Kwanya, who is going to show you what it actually looks like live right here.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Now it's the fun part. You're going to see how the app looks, how it functions, and its capabilities. So as soon as we can get that up on the screen, that would be great. So whilst we're waiting, I hope everyone in the room has signed up already for our beta testing. I hear crickets. So we're going to make sure that all of you in this room is signed up to test the app before we leave today, all right? Awesome. So this is our homepage. Can everybody see? This is our homepage. So essentially, we would have already signed in to the app. So we come to the homepage. The homepage offers different sections for different categories of items. You can see what's trending now. You can browse categories like dairy, meat, produce, infant, household items, snacks, frozen, can and pantry, etc. Those different classifications are broken down for easement for the consumer. So let's just say there's a specific item of dairy that we're interested in, like Blue Diamond, my favorite. And we want to know that, hey, who's having this the cheapest now? So if we click on Blue Diamond and we scroll, we can see the description of the item, the size, where it's located at or available at, and the cheapest price therein. You're going a bit fast for me. So we see that Super Value on Mackey Street has this particular product at $8.89. And then they would list all the other locations thereafter with the product pricing. So let's go back to our main screen. If we scroll down, We can see bakery items, classifications of breads, different kinds, different assortments, different flavors, whatever is nutritional and whatever suits our needs, we can pick direct from there as well. And that's for can and pantry and snacks as well. But I want to show you my favorite portion of the app, and that's creating a shopping list. Because so often that us women, mostly men as well, we go to the store, we have a budget in mind. We're prepared to spend $200. Now, if we're honest, we always go over this budget. It's always an extra 50, sometimes an extra 100. This app, hold on, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. It's showing you the codes. It's showing you the deeper part of what's happening. So the app now can save you time and money. So if we go on our user profile, which is here at the bottom right of the app screen, and we click on profile, okay, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. So because I am a beta tester of Price File, I have it on my phone. Everyone can see? So we're gonna go on user profile. On user profile, there's settings. On the settings, you can click shopping list. And I know that payday was yesterday, so I've created a payday list. Now we know there's different type of payday lists. The list before payday and the list after payday.
I think it's up on behind you.
There we are, okay. So let's go to payday list. So I've already added my favorite Blue Diamond unsweetened vanilla milk. I've already added my butter. I've already added some bread. Let's see how we can add some eggs. Eggs is essential for everyone. So we're gonna go back to our home screen. And we're gonna search for eggs. So we type in the product that we're searching for. Remember, we're creating our shopping list. And I want to scroll up, and I would like let's add the Eggland's Best. So all we can simply do is just press add to list. Payday list. Choose the location that we're shopping in. So we'll choose Super Value Cable Beach since that's nearest to us. And there you go. The item was added to our shopping list. Let's go back to the shopping list. Let's go back to our shopping list. So, also in this feature of your shopping list, you have the ability to reuse the list. You can simply add or take away. So for households that have, for larger households, and you need more than one item, you can simply add to increase the amount that you want to purchase of that item. If you want 2 butter, 3 butter, you can increase it. If this week you don't want butter, you don't need egg, you're just grabbing something quick, you can delete an item from the list as you go, or you can simply create a new list specified for certain things. So I know you all saw the girls' night, so you know those items for girls' night are a little bit different than what a regular shopping list will entail. Let's go back to our home screen. This section here is called Featured Deals. In Featured Deals, it highlights the particular product that is trending at its lowest cost throughout the Bahamas and those retail stores that are in the app. So we can see that Nature's Own, if we click here, is now $5.15 at Superstar Market, which has it for the cheapest.
Where's that?
Superstar Market is in the Bahamas. Prince Charles. Oh, you're familiar with Superstar Market. There you go. Go back to our main screen. Let's go back to our home screen. let's go up also to, we even have for you fuel prices that are trending. This is up-to-date fuel prices. So you don't have to worry about driving this way and that way and trying to figure out, do I have enough gas? So I know that Esso is right there. They're trending at $5 a gallon. Let me just scoop over at Esso. The app has the capability of showing you which stores are nearest to you as well. So it has a geographical location implemented in the app as well. Now, another favorite of mine is the scanning feature. So for example, I wish we had our little grocery store today, but we didn't. So for example, you're at home and you see you're out of canned tuna, the albacore, which is my favorite as well. And what you can do is, you can now grab your mobile device. You can scan the barcode on that item. You can either add it to the list, or you can see where you can quickly grab this albacore tuna that's nearest to you and that has the best price on it. The scanning feature is also used for creating a shopping list as well. So you can go through your cupboard. You can scan the items and it goes to your shopping list. It's quickly added on your shopping list as well. Let's go back to our home page. Go back to our home page. You can search via a product, or you can search via a retailer. So for those of us that are comfortable with our particular brand stores, because I know most behemoths have their preferable food store, you can search via the retailer as well, or particular items. Let's go to, well, let's click retailers to show them what we have. So these are the list of all the retailers that's located in the app, and that is throughout the entire Bahamas for those stores that have signed up through the app. We also can see, we can search by island as well. So if you're in Eleuthera and you're not familiar with Eleuthera and you want to see if there are stores there, Exuma, Bimini, etc., you can search via island and see what is nearest to you while you're on that island and the prices that they have available. So let's click Abaco Markets. Go back up to the top. Let's go Jay's Convenience Store, Marsh Harbor. Anything in Abaco at this point. So we haven't captured those as yet. So let's see, Dockside Groceries. Is there anything there? Okay, so Dockside Grocery. Once you click that, all of the items that have been captured in that store will show up in the app. Again, you can search per item specifically, or you can make your list, or you can search via pricing, whichever mechanism is most effective for you as the consumer. Okay, let's go back to our main screen again. I want to make sure we're getting all the aspects of the app. Now, Mr. Williams mentioned something about reporting an item. For instance, we're on the app. We see that the Hunt's tomato paste is trending at this particular store. Just scroll up a bit for me. I want to get the price. At $12.59 at Quality Supermarket. Okay, so we go and we drive to Quality Supermarket. We get in there. The price for that particular item is far greater than the one showcased on the app. We can simply report this item. So if we go to do a report, we can flag it. The category will be price error, product error, whatever the discrepancy is. You can log it in the system. You can also take a picture of it by scanning it, taking a photo of it to log it in the app. And that information goes directly to our Consumer Affairs department because the ecosystem is all integrated. So there you go for you. who can see. This will be the price report page. So you report any discrepancy in this area here. Okay, back to home, back to our home portion. Coming soon, which would be beneficial to us as well, on our notification section. So if we go to profile, in all our profile, you have your shopping list, you have your notifications, you have your price alert, your price reports, all of the things relevant to you and your app. The notification section in the very near future will now highlight all of those Thursday deals that you see come out in the newspaper every Thursday for all of the grocery stores. So now you don't even have to go searching through the paper. You can click on notifications, or you can click directly on the retailer's panel in the app, and their deals, weekly specials will be highlighted on their main screen. Also, price alerts. Now, for those of us who love that Ensueno or that popular brand Downy, and we know those prices fluctuate, and we know, we're trying to budget ourselves, so I'm not personally prepared to pay over the $7 mark for that Downy. Sometimes it can go up, it can go down. I want to see that at that $7 market value. So now I can add that in the price alert section, so the app can alert me when the price has dropped on that particular item. And you can set your category. You can use a percentage, or you can use an actual figure. So let's just say, I want to know when Downy has dropped by $2. You set the $2 rate inside the app for price alerts, and the app will alert you when the price on any item that you have chosen has dropped. So that's a really fun feature as well. I hope I'm getting everything. Mr. Williams just disappeared. Let's go back to our main screen as well. Is everybody with me so far? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we went on how you search the app. You can search via a retailer. You can search via an item. You can search via location, geographical location. You can now highlight your featured deals, your specials. You can make the shopping list that you can share with your family. For those of you who signed up, for persons who signed up, if your family members signed up for the app, we've created a feature where you can send your list to your family members and say, hey mom, go and grab this for me. Or hey husband, it's your turn to run to the grocery store. This is the list. So it's very beneficial and essential for the consumer.
And so, app can be for the average Bahamian. You have now within the palm of your hand the prices of virtually every single product across the Bahamas that you can find in grocery stores. Now, something Ms. Smith touched on that I would like to address. We are currently in the process every day of updating the app. Do we know how many products are currently across the app at the last time that you checked? So around 30,000 products are now inside the app, and every day we have price inspectors going across, quite frankly, the country to add more products from more stores. So within a few weeks, it's probably going to be 50,000, and within about 2 months, we hope to have the majority of stores and products across the country. And so it's going to be a very comprehensive place that you can go to find the price of virtually everything that would be in the supermarket. The other thing we haven't touched on that I hope you caught on to as the demonstration was going on is that this will also be transformative for small businesses. Small businesses in the Bahamas often don't have an online presence. So your favorite sort of local convenience store in your neighborhood may not have an online presence. This is a completely free way that small businesses can have an online presence. And so they will be able to create their profile in the system, update all of their products. And again, we're taking the heavy lifting away from the small businesses. They don't have to hire someone to upload all their products into the system. We have price inspectors who can come to their store, help to upload all of the prices and their products into the system, and they will only be responsible for the updating and maintenance as their prices change. And so now, stores that ordinarily would not have an online presence will have an online presence and will be able to compete against larger stores that have more resources. So oftentimes, the prices of your favorite products might be lowest at a store you don't even know about, a store that could be in your community or not that far from where you work, but you don't know about it. But now, by using the PricePal app, you will be able to find the best prices of products across multiple stores. And so that's something we're heavily pushing to small businesses and smaller retailers, is that you can use PricePal as your online presence and to reach a larger scope of Bahamians. And again, this is spurring competition, and this is creating opportunity for small businesses. And so, with that said, I would like to now introduce Mr. Rex Adderley, who will come to speak about it from the Consumer Affairs perspective. So the Consumer Affairs Department will be the home of PricePal. The app will live in the Consumer Affairs Department, and so we'll let Mr. Adderley talk more about the operations and maintaining the app. Mr. Adderley?
Good morning, members of the press, colleagues, and Bahamian public. Today is a very important day, not just for our government department, but for consumers across the entire country. PricePal represents what can happen when public institutions work together with a clear purpose to make life more fair, more transparent, and more affordable for Bahamian families. I want to first acknowledge the Bahamas Trade Commission, whose work in designing, developing, and bringing PricePal to market has made this initiative possible. Their vision was simple but powerful. Give ordinary Bahamians access to information that has traditionally only been available to businesses. The Office of the Prime Minister has also played a critical role assisting with policy direction, research, and national communications to ensure that PricePal becomes a trusted national platform. In addition, the Consumer Protection Commission will be integrated into the app so that consumers are not only informed, they are also empowered to report concerns and seek redress. Now, the Department of Consumer Affairs is proud to be the home of PricePal. Once launched, our team will be responsible for operating and maintaining the platform. Our price inspectors, who already work daily throughout New Providence and the Family Islands, will now take on an expanded role. They will actively collect and upload product pricing, verify information, and help ensure that the data Bahamians see is accurate and reliable. In other words, PricePal is not just an app. It's a national consumer tool. We are all consumers. For the first time, a Bahamian mother standing in a grocery aisle, a senior citizen on a fixed income, or a young professional budgeting their monthly expenses will be able to compare prices instantly and make informed decisions. That means better choice, that means stronger competition, and ultimately, that means relief for consumers. We are also inviting the public to participate in our national beta testing phase. We want a cross-section of Bahamians from every island, every age group, and every background to help us test the platform, share recommendations, and help us refine its features before full launch. Your feedback will directly shape the final version of the app and ensure it truly works for the people it is designed to serve. To sign up, simply visit pricepal.gov.bs and register to become a beta tester. We are excited at Consumer Affairs because this aligns perfectly with our mandate, protecting consumers and promoting fairness in the marketplace. Price Pal allows us to bring that mission directly into the hands of every Bahamian, on their phone, wherever they live in our archipelago. This is a big step forward for transparency, for accountability, and for the modernization of consumer empowerment in the Bahamas. We look forward to maintaining the platform, improving it, and working alongside our government partners to ensure it delivers real value to the Bahamian people. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Adderley. So Consumer Affairs Department will be the home for Price Pal. Another big aspect of this app and what drove us as a policy team to really push this app is the reality of the cost of living on the Family Islands. Any of us who are from the Family Islands or who visit the Family Islands know that prices on the Family Islands can be oftentimes astronomical compared to New Providence. Sometimes products cost twice as much or more. And so part of the drive for this is to bring more competition and price transparency to purchasing in the Family Islands. And so with that said, consumer complaints is also an issue. You've heard from the Consumer Protection Commission that complaints have risen over the last few years and that they're actively redressing them. And so with that as an opening, I would like to invite Senator Randy Roll, who is the chairman of the Consumer Protection Commission and who is also a candidate for the islands of Bimini and the Berry Islands in the next general election, to speak a little bit about how the Consumer Protection Commission is integrated into the app and how this app will affect life on the Family Islands. Senator Roll.
Thank you very much, Senator Griffin. So, a parent goes to the grocery store. They have a number of groceries in their items. They get to the register and they realize that, okay, I have 10 items, but I have $100. Gone with Price Pal, gone will be the days when they run into an embarrassing situation. Should I take the milk? Should I put back the cream? Should I grab a loaf of bread? Should I put back a snack for the kids? And so what we see here today is certainly a game changer. One of the things that I want to highlight as it relates to the Davis administration and the introduction of Price Pal is that we want, the key was to leave no island behind. Many times with consumer protection, we get a lot of complaints about the cost of not only on the what we're dealing with versus what we can get from Nassau, looking at the shipping costs. And so persons can now budget even before they order. And so this is good. And so many times there are persons all the way southern islands who have an issue in terms of not only the price of goods, but the quality of goods and the timing of goods. And so this app, again, a game changer that allows them to look at put all the stakes on the ground. And so with leaving no island behind, this is a good thing. We are happy to work along with Consumer Affairs, along with the Trade Commission, to make sure that we address the cost of living. I can tell you that the residents of Bimini, the Berry Islands, Exuma, Abaco, throughout the Bahamas where we went, everyone had a concern about the cost of living. And so this here is a game changer. Again, I say this is important. We are grateful for the opportunity to work along with our brothers and sisters, and of course, Rex Adley, who has inspectors in most islands, and where there isn't an inspector, there will be inspectors going to make sure that we get it in as much islands as possible. And so we're grateful for it. We're thankful. Hopefully, last year we was able to put back $203,000 into the hands of consumers. With this, certainly it keeps the merchants honest. And so this is something that we're looking forward to, we're happy to be a part of, and I'm just excited about it. Thank you.
Okay, so with that, we will open the floor for questions related to PricePal. Anything on policy, broader objectives, any technical questions or questions about operations? Yes, sir?
So pretty much the stores don't have a choice to sign up because these price inspectors will be going in to each and every store to upload these products for the pricing, right? So a store can't essentially say no, or they don't get to sign up themselves, right?
So it's a sort of two sort of prong approach. So the idea is that these prices are public information. The stores are open to the public. And so what the government is doing is essentially only making it more easily accessible to Bahamians by making it available in a more digital format. And so with that as sort of the premise, these prices are already public. We're just digitizing it. Where stores can come onto the app is that there will be a profile made for every single store. And we are actively encouraging stores to take control of that portal so that they can more readily update prices. They can put deals. They can change the information on their stores, location, email address, phone numbers, things of that nature. So stores have the ability for free to manage their own online presence in PricePal. But again, as a public service initiative, the government has taken on the burden of doing the heavy lifting of having price inspectors literally scan and put the first batch of products into the system. And so from the government perspective, we commit to the public to keep the prices updated. But from a private sector perspective, it makes sense for stores to kind of control their own online presence. And so we're currently working with a number of retailers who've already onboarded onto the site and have begun taking control of their online presence.
How many people have downloaded the app since beta testing began on the 9th?
I don't know if we have that. Do we have that updated information? Okay, so far we have 400.
And how many people are you hoping to get to sign up before the actual national launch?
So we don't have a specific number. So what is happening is that we just want to make sure that we have enough people to stress test the app in different scenarios across sort of geographic locations and across sort of timelines. And so we had initially said just as an arbitrary number that we would like 1,500 Bahamians to sign on to the app before the launch. And so we're actually in a really good space in sort of pushing towards that number. As you would be aware, we've really done no sort of public campaign on PricePal. And so literally the 400 people would have come from the sort of media sneak peek that we had about a week and a half ago. And then, privately sending emails to different demographics of people to sign on to the app. So now with this press conference today, the stress tests and the technical tests have worked so far, and we think the app is able to take on more people. So part of the purpose of this press conference today is to bring it to a wider audience so that now we invite more beta testers to get onto the app so that we can, do further stress tests. And one of the powerful things that we found coming from just the few hundred people who have signed up to the app so far, they're actually giving great feedback and recommendations on how to improve the app. And so a lot of those have already been taken on to make sort of the flow and the usability of the app better. And so we want to get more people on the app so we can get those recommendations from consumers so that we can make the app as good as possible before a full public launch.
Now, what are some of the more common recommendations or concerns expressed by the people who are already using it?
Okay, I'll invite Mr. Williams, who gets those recommendations firsthand every day.
Firsthand every day. It's more of the flow. In regards to your question about recommendations, it's more of the flow. Also discovering some data and performance issues. It was like data cleaning. Although we're in beta, we also have a lot of incorrect information that have been coming in, and so they're also being cleaned up as well ahead of time. There is also improvements in terms of what should be visible on a particular product from the first glance. A handful of those things we saw today, I think about a quarter of those would have been from suggestions from the public. And so every day I look forward to those feedbacks.
Okay, so how many retailers are on the app right now currently?
So right now, plugged into the app, we have over, well, from the perspective of stores that we've collected data from or in the process of collecting data from, there are over 200 at our last meeting, there were over 232 stores that are actively in the app that you can do. Right now, I think we have about 7 or 8 retailers who have taken control of their sort of profile within the system, and they are actively managing their sort of prices and changes now.
And just to add, in terms of retailer adoption, we also have been supporting the retailers in helping their operation become more smoother, not to infer any more work or burden on them. And so we've actually been working with retailers to automate a lot of their processes with coming onto the system. And so hence, once we get past this first initial batch of beta testing for retailers, we want to be able to rush that through within the next few weeks to peak that number up to at least 100 retailers before our full launch.
To make this a form of revenue generation, to maybe a paywall or a premium subscription service to the app?
So at this time, there are no plans of that nature. So we have introduced the app to various groups within government and within the private sector. And I think a lot of people immediately see the commercial viability of the app and things that you can do for revenue generation in the app. But as a public service, the government wants to be very clear that we are offering a public utility in this app. And at this present stage, there is no discussion of generating revenue from the app. We want it to be a free service for Bahamians. It's intended to help lower the cost of living, not to add an additional cost. So right now, we're just interested in getting the app out to as many people as possible so that the positive effects are felt. So at this time, no.
Now, Senator Wold mentioned keeping business owners honest. In those instances where there may be like a glaring disparity in terms of like a huge price difference at different locations for the same product, same size, same brand, does consumer protection then step in to like maybe speak to that business to find out like why is your price so high when other stores in the market have it for a considerably lower price?
Before I allow Senator Roll to answer if he wishes, from a policy perspective, we want to be clear. Companies in the Bahamas are free to set their prices as long as they are within the bounds of the law. And so these companies operate free market businesses, and they can charge whatever they want. So the purpose of the app is to highlight the prices so consumers can make an informed decision. So if you as a consumer see a huge disparity and there seems to be no clear reason why the exact same product is vastly different on prices, that will help you to inform your decision. Government is not going to step in to ask or demand retailers to change their prices. However, we do hope that market behavior forces stores to change their prices, because now we'll be in a more competitive marketplace where consumers can see, oh, I may have been going to this store because they're down the road, but they're 10 times more than someone who is a 10-minute drive away. I'm going to take that 10-minute drive. So we are hoping that consumer behavior would spur that competition. But to answer a question that's sort of underlying what you asked, the app will give the government an opportunity, for example, in times of emergency when we've seen prices skyrocket. Now this app will shed a spotlight on the price where not only the government, but consumers can see that the price of a particular item escalated within a day or within 2 days. And in times of emergency where the government has sort of emergency powers to address things like that, then that's where the government may perhaps step in to regulate price gouging for particular products in particular times of emergency. I don't know if you want to add something to that? Okay.
If I may add something.
Please.
The launch date?
Pardon?
Launch date? National launch.
We have a launch date that we have in our heads right now, but again, it's an app. It's sort of a living creature, and we're also cognizant of the realities of other things happening in the country, and so we just want to make sure that we deliver the best possible app. And so, as we're telling you now, The app is fully functional. It's ready to go. We want Bahamians on it using it, but until we sort of feel like we're at the final stages of taking those recommendations and refining it, we won't launch. But I will say that we do intend to launch within the next few weeks.
Just for more information on your question, just a reminder that we do have controlled items. Controlled items. We have 11 control items, and we have 11 extended items. The control items, the maximum price is set by Consumer Affairs. In the app, if the prices are shown beyond that maximum price, then the consumer can report that to Consumer Affairs and we'll take action on that.
That's the bread basket items.
Bread basket items, yes.
So the app can be used as a form of price control.
Yes, for control items.
So could this expand beyond groceries to potentially utilities and other bills?
So that is actually the long-term vision of the government. So last year in the Prime Minister's January address, he spoke about a lot of things in relation to the economy, and he coined the phrase affordable Bahamas. And so this is a part of the government's larger affordable Bahamas initiatives. And so we did polling and data testing, and the biggest concern of Bahamians at that point were the prices in the grocery store. Another sector that Bahamians complained about were prices of building supplies and construction materials. And so those are the first industries we intend to target. So you'll see us move from food in the grocery stores to other items in the grocery stores, so cleaning products, household items, and then we're going to perhaps move into construction materials, building supplies, and then we will continue to be informed by Bahamians on what the most pressing price issues are, and if the app can deal with that to shed a spotlight on that, those are the industries we will then seek to take. But as you can already see, gas prices are already on there. So you can be in your car, literally pull up the app, and say, okay, Rubis is 5, whatever, Esso is 5, this, and make a informed decision of where you're gonna stop on the road. And so we do intend for it to be a more holistic app that encompasses as much as possible. But for the immediate term, it is the grocery store prices that Bahamians have said they're most interested in. So that's the first phase of what we're focusing on.
Are these prices VAT inclusive?
Are they VAT inclusive? So right now in the app, they're VAT inclusive, but after April 1st, when the changes are made, the changes will be made in the app automatically to take off the VAT off of the items. And again, this is empowering Bahamians, and so once you see in the app that an item should not attract VAT, when you go to the store, it should not attract VAT.
Any plans for in-app purchasing in the future?
So again, because the government is doing this as a public service, the plan right now is not to have in-app purchasing. I can't speak to the future, but right now we want to have it as in-app purchasing, which, could perhaps have.
This also does is it gives young Bahamians an opportunity to look at it, the spin-off, and what other opportunities are created by it. And so just how you said that there are other young aspiring Bahamians that want to venture out into other things. And so this here is a start. Like I said, when I spoke, it's a game changer. And so there are many spin-offs. I spoke to the Business Outlook in Grand Bahama, and I said how, they created the pickle conch when it wasn't anything. And so we want Bahamians to think deep and wide as to what else can happen as a result of this Price Pal app. And so it's about relationships, it's about working together, and it's about expanding the mind and opportunities for all. But it is very important. The competition is super important. And as a retailer, if you're not there, then certainly you will be priced out of the market, and other people will start to go other places. And so if you want to stay in the game, then this creates that environment for you to, again, do right by consumers everywhere.
Any other questions?
I do have a question.
Yes.
Can you speak to how far the commission has button on the national export strategy that you guys were working on?
Okay, you are on it. I'm glad you asked that though, because I haven't publicly addressed that in a while. So we made a presentation to Cabinet, the trade unit at the Ministry of Economic Affairs, and the Trade Commission, and the export strategy document was well received by Cabinet. We got Cabinet approval, I think, maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, maybe not that much, but we got approval for the strategy to be released to the public and for us to begin the consultative phase. And so for those watching who aren't sure about what we're speaking about, the Trade Commission has caused to be produced a national export strategy. The idea is that there has never been in the Bahamas a single strategy document that private sector actors, international partners, Bahamian entrepreneurs, and agencies across the government can look at to see that this is the export strategy of the Bahamas. So we all have sort of these micro sectors or industries that we say are ripe for export. And so what we're doing now is we are hiring consultants to draft a national export strategy document that identifies key sectors that are ripe for export and what is needed to happen to make Bahamian exports finally happen, whether it's capacity building, whether it's access to finance. These are all questions we're posing in the strategy document, and we want consultants to help us to address that, but we also want the private sector to help us to address that. And so over the next few weeks, we will begin that public consultation on the document that was already drafted, with the hope that the private sector will help us to refine that document with their recommendations, their suggestions, their changes, their data, their advice that they would have. And then that final document will become the national export strategy of the Bahamas. And so we're very much well underway with the national export strategy.
Question, suggestion. Has there been any consideration made to, as we were going over the categories, adding in a Bahamian-made category, so items that are manufactured in the Bahamas, local farmers, etc.?
Yeah, so I will let Novio talk about that, but we are, from suggestions from Bahamians, actually doing something very similar.
Yes, so on that note, we are currently in talks with BAIC to feature the organic initiative, what I personally call it, and to highlight those homegrown items that are grown here locally, and to highlight some of the personal farm and fish stores as well for our local farmers and fishermen to be able to have their products shown and featured in the app as well. So we are currently in talks for that to come on really soon. Just an added note, as Senator said, that each day as our beta testing feedback comes in, we take those into consideration and see how we can enhance the app to better be more effective for the consumer.
And so just to add on a little bit what she said, I think that's one of the advantages of having a Bahamian company help to create the app. They are here in country, they live in the Bahamas, and so they're not only developers of the app, but they are consumers of the app as well. And so we found that they are very in tune in terms of what is happening in the marketplace and very flexible in terms of taking on the suggestions of Bahamians as the app further develops. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I have a question for Senator with the Consumer Protection Committee. How are complaints looking so far this year in terms of investigative report from consumers and also figures from the end of last year? I know in March, I think the figure was in March last year, there were 11 complaints so far for 2025 and $15,000 recovered. So how would things look at the end of 2025 and so far for 2026?
Well, that's something I can research and get that information to you by end of day. I just got back on the island. I wanted to be here for this price file, and so it's super important. But if you reach out to me, I'll get it to you at the end of the day. All right?
Would you guys have record for like rent-related complaints?
Okay, well, yeah, you can, I guess, you want to speak to it?
I won't have the record here for you, but the Consumer Affairs deals with the rent complaints.
And it's a board that deals with it, but I think they've been actively meeting It's headed by Shaka Sado.
Yes, we have an active board. We have an active rent control board that is chaired by the Assistant Magistrate Shaka Seville. And right now, that they are dealing with complaints as we speak. He would hear cases as often as he can, because he's also sitting at the magistrate court. And the rent control board meets once a month, and if any case is called up, then he will set a date for that case to hear it. But he's actively involved right now. The rent control board, they're all involved.
To that question again, as well as the revenue collected, one thing I mentioned in my address was carrying in the commission into a new era. And so in the near future, those questions we're asking is going to be available on the spot at real time and being tracked.
Any other questions related to Price Pal before we quickly mention something else? Okay, so just to sort of wrap up the discussion on Price Pal, the government thinks this is going to be a completely transformative initiative that helps to lower the cost of living in Bahamas by highlighting a spot on prices in the Bahamas with the idea that it will spur competition. We are encouraging Bahamians across the Bahamaland to become part of the beta testing of Price Pal, and you can go to pricepal.gov.bs. It's available for Android phones and Apple phones as well, and become part of the first group to help us to test and refine and make this app the best possible app before we launch, which we intend to do in a few weeks. So that's Price Pal. From the Trade Commission, we also wanted to make one more announcement here. So you may have seen it online, but this week we opened a new export support program. So one of the biggest initiatives that we're involved in with the Trade Commission are our initiatives related to export. As a question was just asked about export, Bahamian entrepreneurs are particularly concerned about how do they get their products into other jurisdictions. And so the Bahamas Trade Commission has opened a new grant opportunity, because one of the things I hear most from Bahamian entrepreneurs is that they have good products, but it can be very expensive and difficult to get them into the US in particular. So for small producers entering the US market, that means navigating FDA registration, labeling rules, ingredient compliance, and securing a US agent. These are structural barriers that we see, but they've quietly kept many Bahamian businesses out of the US market. And so this initiative tackles that. Through this grant, we are providing support for FDA facility registration, US agent services, compliance review, ingredient verification, and regulatory advice. So in other words, we're not just encouraging exports, we are build supply. If you think your product is good enough to get into the United States, we want to help you do that. So in order to do that, please visit us or send a message to us at. So that is our announcement for the grant opportunity. Are there any questions on that? Pardon? So right now the program is unlimited. We want to see what the interest is, but right now there isn't a cap. So as many people as possible that we're able to. The budget is actually a mix of funding from the Bahamian government through the Ministry of Economic, so it's not a straightforward number. So from the ministry to support all of that. And so it depends sort of figure or amount of people we're transformative. Are real. The FDA licensing process is extremely complicated depending on your product, extremely time consuming, and can be extremely expensive. Finding a US agent can also be very expensive. Navigating sort of labeling rules and ingredient rules also requires specialist advice that can be very expensive. So for a small manufacturer, those hurdles completely keep you out of the US jurisdiction. So with this grant program, if you have a good product that's ready to export and you just need the support of services like these, this can be transformative. You can go from perhaps not having an avenue to being in the US market to finally being able to access the US market. So for small producers that have great products that can translate internationally, we think it's going to be a game changer. The deadline is March 6th. So yes, thank you. The deadline is March 6th.
Just we would have spoken to some persons that already export items to the U.S.
Yes.
And they had raised concerns that demand would have been lower due to the new tariffs that came in place. So is there anything in place to assist those existing businesses? And I guess how is the Trade Commission going to navigate that new hurdle that they're having?
So the trade unit at the Ministry of Economic Affairs is always open and available to assist Bahamian businesses in navigating the regulatory environment for the jurisdictions that they wish to export to. So for any business that feels like they need assistance in navigating the new sort of tariff reality, I would encourage them to email us at trade@bahamas.gov.bs. Sometimes we are able to offer advice in-house to steer you in the right direction, how to navigate these hurdles. And sometimes we're able to recommend or advise you for a private sector representative in the Bahamas who can assist, or an international organization or private company in the US, as it may be. You're talking about tariffs. And so the way the tariffs affect businesses will be different depending on the sector and the business. But as you know, we have few manufacturing export sectors, so there are very few sectors in the Bahamas that will be particularly hit by it. But for those that are hit by it, the Ministry of Economic Affairs continues to be engaged with the private sector, and we would welcome any one-on-one discussions or discussions with trade organizations that represent industries so that we can assist in navigating that. Okay, so everyone in here is going to download PricePal? Okay, good. All right. So thank you so much. I'll turn it back over to Press Secretary Keishla.
Thank you so much, Senators Griffin and Roll. Thank you, Mr. Adderley, and thank you, Novia Group. I'm sure that happened. We will have a further demonstration at the end and give members of the press. Prime Minister Davis is back in the capital after attending discussions. They discussed some of this region, including trafficking and the like. The issue of migration was one of the top issues during those discussions, including the visa issue. As you know, late last year, a decision was taken by the United States that, of course, was cause for concern for governments, CARICOM government. The assurance was given by Secretary of State Marco Rubio that the hold on the processing of those documents are in place, and they're happy with the processes in place. Was going forward guide discussions in that regard. And that's it for announcements for me. Anything else, anyone? Well, that is something that's being reviewed. I can't much everyone.